So as the new students started coming in, we realized that there was this need to be able to create a program that was going to be able to get kids involved in trade skills. And I will introduce my friend, Todd Trainor, who is also the director of the Kittyhawk Academy program.
Wow, look at all you guys. Thank you very much for showing up. I got to say that Patrick is an extraordinary person. He's very talented and very gifted and very driven. And he's an inspiration for many of us at the museum. So I really appreciate the friendship that we have created and the great museum, the Kittyhawk Academy. Our talents seem to go together very well, and I really appreciate that. Even before Sam Bauer-Mitchell was a dream in our eyes, Patrick and I have been mentoring kids. It's just part of our DNA. It's all started with Logan, coming over, and it's like, yeah, sure, we just love doing this kind of stuff. And then, like he said, more and more and more started coming over. So it's really part of our wiring to do this, and we really enjoy that. So when it came time to going to get Sam Bauer-Mitchell, it was natural to have a youth involved in it. And then when the Warbirds of Glory Museum was formed around this B-25 that was recovered out of Alaska, of course our motto is preserve, honor, and mentor. So mentoring has always been part of our slogan all along. So so we've been doing that since what, 2012, we've been mentoring kids, and it's just grown and grown and grown and now become very formalized. And as you'll hear throughout the night, how it's just exploding with popularity, and there's a lot of demand for this and a lot of hunger for this type of youth development. Well, 2017 was a developing year for us because up until now, the students would come over and work with Patrick or I or some of the other mechanics there and just learn apprenticeship style. There was no plan. It was just you come over and you start working. But as the funny thing happens to students, they get older and they move away. So some of them have gone on to the Air Force, or they have gotten jobs of their own, or they've gone on post-secondary school and they're getting degrees. Whatever the reason is, they've left. So then the new kids started coming in, but they didn't have the same pre-existing mechanical skills necessarily, or not to the same level as the original students were. So one of the things, we're saying, what's going on here and what do we need to do to try to adapt for this? And we got to do something. So what Mr. Beckwith, which hopefully you've all met Mr. Beckwith over here, my first mentor here, yes. He and I sat down one day and said, you know what, if we had the opportunity to teach a student from scratch, let's say a blank slate, and allow them to become mechanically inclined, what would you teach them? Think about it, because most of us who are mechanically inclined, we don't think about necessarily how we learn things and in what order. It was just dad or our uncle or grandpa or someone from the family that just taught us. And so now here we are in a position where we can be the mentors. A very exciting position. We love being mentors. In fact, Rodney is an Eagle Scout, and he's heavily involved in the Boy Scouts, so he's mentoring all the time, but it's not in the toolmanship or mechanical stuff. So we sat down, we wrote this list this long of the things that we wanted to be able to teach them. It starts right off with screwdriver and a wrench. Okay, and it goes down through all the hand tools and processes and machine tools and electricity and plumbing and all this kind of stuff. It's to give them a broad experience of what it means to be a mechanic or to be a tradesperson or to have a mechanical ability. So we broke that list up and we had to come up with a name for this. What is this? It's not craftsmanship. So we went through the dictionary for all sorts of words and none of them matched, and we found a non-word, a word that Microsoft Word does not recognize. It's called toolmanship. But in one word, it kind of describes what it is that we are teaching some of these younger students as young as 12 years old. It's toolmanship. That kind of explains it. It's the whole, it's all the safety and rules and experiences and how you use the various different tools. Then, of course, we complicate it. We complicate it when we start doing processes and power tools and combining them with problem solving. And so when Rodney and I sat down and said, we're going to create this thing called, and we actually spent many times, Patrick and I, deciding what is the name going to be? Next Gen or the Kids of Brighton, all these kind of silly names. And one day we were sitting down and Kittyhawk Academy came out. I was like, that's it. What a great name. It's aviation associated. It's an academy. It speaks right to what we're doing. So the academy was born on that night. with Rodney's help and with Patrick and I. So we said, we're going to go with this. So the Kittyhawk Academy already had 2 programs leading up to toolmanship. The Restoration Apprenticeship with Patrick's leads. Then we also have a CAD mentoring program, which twice a year we teach CAD to 10 students. So they learn 3D CAD modeling, and Mr. Benavides, sitting over here in the blue shirt, the yellow tie, is our lead instructor on that. They learn SolidWorks. It's absolutely wonderful. So we're changing a lot of lives there as well. So we understood that we decided that the strategy for our toolmanship program was going to be to simulate mentoring as we received from our elders when we were younger. You know, even Patrick had some of the veterans out at the airport teach him. I certainly had my father, my uncle, my grandfather, and he had his grandpa too. We always had people that were mentoring us. So we wanted to make it one-on-one because that's kind of simulating what it was. And we wanted to utilize decades of experience of the retired tradesmen. What a great way to utilize many, many decades of your experience. What does a retired tradesman do? I mean, they've spent years learning all this experience, and it just goes into what? What do they do with it? They just remember it and maybe play shuffleboard. I'm sorry for all you retired people. Which, by the way, I'm retired too. But what my point is that pair them up with someone from another future generation, and then teach them that. And that's exactly what we're doing with all of our mentors. All of our mentors are retired. They have tremendous amount of skills, and they just really love teaching the students. And I think that we have an endless supply of talented retired people. So we are going to take advantage of this, and we have 10 of them right now. So we're going to do as much hands-on experience as possible. It's not all bookwork, but it is curriculum. It is curriculum-based. We start them as early as 12 years old. We have a regiment. So what we're doing is we want to make this repeatable. We want to make it predictable. We want the results to be achievable and measurable. So while on the back end we're all really organized, and we're very scientific about our learning lessons and exactly how things should go out, but on the front end that the students see, it's all human and organic. Kind of like the way it was with Dad when you were learning, or whoever your mentor was. So we also realized that, that there is history to be learned too. So we're adding to this an understanding of history and the sacrifices that our forefathers and veterans have made for the protection of our freedoms. So we fold that into the class as well. Certainly respect for the American flag. The very first lesson in the first semester is the flag etiquette and learning how to raise and lower a flag, and how to fold the flag, and what the flag means to us. So that is part of the very first lesson. We are also making them act professional. You know, use good judgment, pay attention. These are a lot of things right out of the Boy Scouts manual too, so there's not a lot of difference in that regard. It's just our toolmanship. And we tell them, be not afraid to make mistakes, because here, mistakes are okay, because that's how you learn. So we are right there one-on-one with them to make sure that their hand-eye coordination is being tuned early and right away, and don't worry about breaking something. We also expect high behavior, and if you get a chance, we do have in some of the student manuals over there, open up the inside cover, there is the principles of student behavior there, and it all talks about what we expect from you. We expect you to act grown up. Because what are we doing as mentors? We are preparing you to become an adult with a good job and good values. So anyway, we carved out a couple 100 feet upstairs, and we, in one winter a couple years ago, we launched it. And we started off with 3 students and 2 mentors, me and Rodney, and that was it. And we quickly learned and we understood the deep need for this, because it just exploded. I mean, on the inside, I could see firsthand the impact that it was making on the students. I could see it. I could see the students come in, and I could see their study and their involvement turn from just a mechanical ability they learned that day to become mechanical curiosity. And now they start asking questions. Do you think I could do this? Do you think I could do this? It is a light bulb moment, and they don't even realize it, but we see that happen. So there's our future trade skillsmen and industrialists and engineers right there. We could see it happening right from 12, 13, 14, however old they are when they enter our program. So within a year, we had 12 students. We maximized the space that we had at the Kittyhawk Academy. I mean, we have, with 3 students at a time, because we run them every after school and in the evening every day, but we can only fit 3 students and 3 mentors in there, which is 6 butts in a 200 square feet area. So it's pretty tight, okay? And if you look at some of the pictures, you can see how tight we are. So it's absolutely wonderful. I love the success of it, but we are at capacity right now. So we are up to 9 mentors now. We have 12 students. And sadly, the next semester, we could only accept 3 students because we only could do 12, and only 3 of them were not able to return the next semester. So we only are allowed to add in 3 more. So I got to tell you, if we don't do some expansion here, and all 12 of these students that are standing over here wish to return, we have no room for students, and we have a backlog of 12 students right now. So we are really looking forward. We are gathered here tonight because we want to try to expand this program and integrate it with what we're doing with the Warbirds Museum in terms of honoring, preserving, and mentoring. So we do realize that not all students are college bound. We do realize also that a good engineer needs to have mechanical capability. And we do understand that trade skills are an everlasting job, an everlasting skill that we'll always have. So I'm not sure why Hollywood has really downplayed some of the trade skills, but it's really been hurting us in Michigan and the country lately because there's a lot of need, as some of you are from the industry here and know how hard it is now to get it. In fact, well, one of the members of the audience, Tom, thank you for sending me an email this morning that was one of many articles in the trade saying, we've got a problem. As a CEO of Pratt & Whitney, in this particular case, I'm kept up at night because I don't know where our future employers are going to come from. Because the average age in many of these industries is like 55. They're nearing retirement, and we don't have this pool of resources. So you're going to hear from Jeff Smet too about the Aerospace Industry Trade Association or Association of Michigan, where they're very interested in keeping the aerospace industry alive in Michigan, and they need talent. So the Kittyhawk Academy is going to help address that. So what's standing in our way is capacity. And we have a true potential to change more lives than we already have. And I think you'll hear some of the stories, and if you talk to any of them, you can see the lives that we've changed already. So we are gathered here tonight in order to help make the dreams of some of these kids come true, and to help foster the industry and trade skills in the United States and in Michigan. So please, help us expand our program and help us keep our industrial leadership and help us build the next greatest generation. Thank you.